Raw Skeptic Report with Heidi Robertson.
Hi everyone. Hearing Richard, Joe and Iran's report 3 weeks ago on the Mind, Body, Spirit festival they attended in Sydney reminded me that I still have a large collection of material I gathered at the Brisbane Mind, Body, Spirit in March of this year. I got it out the other day and searched for the flyer that had particularly piqued my curiosity for its extraordinary claims, but even more so the improbability of the device being advertised. I think I can confidently say that I've never come across anything quite like this before. As far as examples of where prior plausibility must come into play, this is not only a good example, this example takes the cake, and the whole bakery with it. So here we have it. It's called Bioresonance therapy. I had about a 10 to 15 minute chat with the lady at this stall, who I shall call Doris, who was very friendly and open to my questions, and it soon became evident that she is a true believer in this therapy. I say that as opposed to a quack just out to make money, knowing full well what they are spruiking is a scam. She was definitely not one of those. So Doris, at least in my view, is a victim, albeit a victim who is now perpetuating the woo on a vulnerable public. But I won't pick on her in particular by naming her, as there are over 90 other practitioners in Australia and, according to some websites, 13,000 devices in use worldwide. So what is it? Who is behind the marketing of it? How do they describe its workings, and is there any evidence to support their claims? The beginnings of bioresonance therapy started with an acupuncturist in the 1950s, and the first machine was developed by a Dr. Franz Morell, a German physician, in the 60s. Morell was also allegedly a Scientologist, which is interesting because what drew me to this stall at the Mind, Body, Spirit was this machine that I thought looked remarkably similar to the e-meter auditing contraption that Scientologists use. And yes, a Scientology stand complete with e-meter was also at a stall nearby. There have been many and varied models of bioresonance machines over the years. This particular company I'm looking at manufactures the BICOM 2000. There is the German manufacturer of this brand and the Australian distributor, although presumably there are distributors worldwide. The ailments claimed to be helped by bioresonance therapy are, as with many alternative therapies, pretty much all-encompassing. Enough weasel words have been used that one could argue that they are not claims at all, but the insinuation, in my opinion, is clear. Doris mentions the following on her website and in her marketing material: allergies, anxiety, stress, chronic fatigue, digestive complaints, sinus, hay fever, candida, migraine, viruses, parasites, urinary tract infections, radiation, skin conditions, heavy metal toxicity, chemical sensitivities, pain, scars, hormonal imbalances, ADD, ADHD, addictions, emotional issues, phobias, self-esteem, relationship issues, and quitting smoking. I'll get to the disclaimers later. First, I'll relate how this therapy is supposed to work. The treatment is as follows. The patient lies down comfortably on a treatment table with a modulation mat underneath them. The practitioner applies an electrode to the patient's body. The electrode is connected to the machine via a cable. The following is directly from the Australian distributor's website. Just keep in mind that Andrew Barry, the distributor, states he has a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry and a PhD in Atomic Physics. Quote, all substances emit a specific electromagnetic wave, each with its own individual characteristics. This is known as a frequency pattern. The BICOM device uses these frequency patterns taken either from the body or from substances that are stressing the body. The BICOM separates these waves into harmonious and disharmonious components. The healthy waves can be boosted and sent back to the body to strengthen normal functions, while the unhealthy waves are inverted or turned upside down by an electronic mirror circuit before returning them to the body to reduce their negative effects. With each treatment, information from the body or substances is altered and sent back to the patient via a large electromagnetic therapy mat. End quote. They then give a couple of examples. Example 1, quote, "The patient presents with a runny nose and cough. First, we collect body secretions, in this case, mucus. We use this sample, as well as an electrode on the throat, to input information into the BICOM device. The BICOM detects this energetic information and then uses its internal filters to separate the healthy and unhealthy frequencies. After amplifying the healthy frequencies and cancelling out the unhealthy ones, the signal is then returned to the body." End quote. Let me clarify. The patient's mucus is put into a beaker and subsequently the machine reads the frequency of the mucus, boosting the good frequencies and eliminating the bad frequencies. Extraordinary claim. Example 2, quote, "The patient presents with an allergic response to a food additive. In this example, we are dealing with a toxin. Unlike the previous example, there is no healthy aspect to this substance, so a vial containing the food additive will be used as the input. The frequency pattern of the additive is passed through a filter which then inverts it. This new frequency is then sent back to the body. This cancels the effect of the toxin on the patient." End quote. I'm sorry, but having treated patients myself suffering the most severe form of allergy, life-threatening anaphylaxis, it's downright irresponsible if they are claiming to diagnose or treat allergies. If a patient thinks they have been cured of their life-threatening allergy, what's to say they will not expose themselves to the allergen once more in order to test it out? It gets better. There is also a different model of the BICOM 2000 called the Optima. Quote, "Practitioners with a knowledge of homeopathy can use the Optima to potentise substances in the range D3 to D1000. A substance is placed into the input beaker and the signal is transmitted to a vial in the output beaker containing a suitable storage medium. The output may also be transmitted directly to the patient using the modulation mat and can also be stored inside a BICOM chip. The chip storage device is used to store the treatment signal inside a stainless steel chip. It can then be attached to the body to allow for additional treatment after the initial therapy session is over." End quote. Now, for the disclaimers. Perhaps if you are so inclined, Google bioresonance therapy, find a practitioner near you and see if they have similar disclaimers in place. So it seems that in alternative medicine, if you are forbidden from making specific health claims, the next best thing is gathering a large volume of glowing testimonials to make the claims for you, aka Australian chef Paleo Pete Evans style. This from the German website. Quote, "You will no doubt be interested in finding out which illnesses BICOM bioresonance therapy is able to treat. Unfortunately, we cannot provide this information here since the law on advertising in the healthcare system in Germany will not allow us to do so. However, we would be happy to give you the names of BICOM therapists who you can contact with your queries." End quote. The information brochure from the Australian distributor's website contains the following disclaimer. Quote, "Just like homeopathy, acupuncture and other methods of complementary therapy, BICOM bioresonance is a form of regulatory medicine. Within complementary medicine, BICOM bioresonance therapy is recognised as an effective, tried and tested method. In orthodox medicine, however, BICOM Bioresonance has not been subject to scientific research and is therefore not yet approved. All claims made regarding effects, properties and indications are based on findings and empirical values from BICOM Bioresonance therapy itself." End quote. There is a downloadable section on that website at bicomaustralia.com.au that contains apparent scientific evidence of the efficacy of the therapy. I'll leave it up to you to determine the veracity of those studies. Doris has also placed a disclaimer on her website. Quote, "When we answer your questions, we only provide information. We do not diagnose disease, nor do we prescribe anything or advise you to give up existing medications. This is a decision to be made only by yourself and doctor. If you act on any information we provide without your doctor's approval, you are prescribing yourself. That is your right to do so, but we take no responsibility or liability for your actions." End quote. During my talk with Doris, I remarked how passionate she appeared to be about the therapy. She told me that she had outlaid $40,000 for 2 of these machines in order to start up her own business. Looking online, I see the Australian distributor charges $2,040 for a 6-day course, enabling someone with no prior medical experience to set up shop and claim, but not claim, to treat the above wide variety of ailments. The Optima machine models range in price from $26,000 to $31,000 each. Of course, there are ongoing costs once one has bought the machine. Vials of homeopathic substances from Germany, for example, that are used in conjunction with the machine. Considering the considerable start-up costs, it's not surprising that Doris charges $240 for the initial 2-hour consultation. She also sells products on her website, including supplements, pain relief and detoxing in the form of power strips, which could be a whole other Skeptic Zone report in itself, and various methods of EMF and radiation protection. So apart from making one's wallet decidedly lighter, what's the harm, as they say? An adult has bodily autonomy and a right to choose their own medical treatment. Here's an example of one such real-life case, which is made all the more tragic because it was not an adult with their own bodily autonomy. It was an 18-day-old baby whose parents made the wrong decision as a result of this specific brand of pseudoscience. I'm now going to quote an article from the Society for Science-Based Medicine by Dr. Stephen Barrett. It describes how a bioresonance machine, in this case a brand called the Mora machine, was used by a naturopath on a small baby. Quote, "In August 2003, Reginald Harold Fenn, 74, of Port Stephens, Australia, was found guilty of manslaughter in connection with the death of 18-day-old Mitchell James Little, who was born with aortic stenosis, a structural heart defect that surgery can repair. During a 9-day trial, witnesses testified that Fenn had treated the baby in 1999 with herbal drops and a Mora machine and declared that he was cured. He recommended that parents, Michael and Elizabeth Little, not allow their baby to undergo surgery. Mr. and Mrs. Little then cancelled an appointment at Westmead Hospital where Mitchell was to be evaluated for an operation to repair or replace the narrowed aortic valve that was putting pressure on his enlarged and overworked heart. The appointment was rescheduled after doctors intervened, but Mitchell died of heart failure before an operation could be carried out. Elizabeth Little testified that Fenn had put 2 metal cylinders on the baby's legs and attached them to a machine. She also said Fenn told them it would supply energy to the body and cure Mitchell's heart problem, and that he had cured hundreds with a similar condition." End quote. In February of 2004, Fenn was sentenced to 5 years jail, but the judge suspended the sentence due to Fenn's terminal skull cancer, which apparently was not able to be cured by bioresonance therapy. That's all from me this time. You can find me at nrvs.info, as well as at the Twitter handle NRVaxSupporters. That's VAX. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, we will have to interrupt the show now for some breaking news. We've been receiving reports since we came on air, and I think we can now confirm it. This may be a world first, that Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes had a baby girl just 10 days ago.
What a scoop! How did we find that? Now, I follow the news closely. I did not know she was even pregnant.
But look, obviously, we should pass on our congratulations to the happy parents. It's a great moment for Tom. Means a big increase in his childcare responsibilities. Obviously, now got to look after both Katie and the baby, so it's going to be very difficult for him.
It's going to be hard. Apparently, they've decided to name the child Suri, which is a Hebrew word meaning future Scientologist.
Yes. The Scientologists have all these weird beliefs, don't they? Like, they believe that an alien was involved in bringing humans to the planet Earth, and they have this thing about silent birth, too. There's a rule that says you're not allowed to make any loud screaming or emotional outbursts unless, of course, it's on the Oprah Winfrey Show, in which case, absolutely fine.
Look, sadly, we're not all as lucky as young Suri. We're not all just born into Scientology. Normally, if you want to join, you have to take one of those free personality tests.
Yeah, that's right. You often see them in the street, and they have this strange machine which is called an E-meter.
It sounds very... It's technical and weird, it sounds. And we thought there might actually just be a better way of recruiting people to Scientology.
Would you like to do a free gullibility test today, sir? We're just conducting a gullibility test.
Right.
And you're doing very well already, actually, so well done. I'm just going to read you a few statements. You don't have to actually believe them, but if you could believe them, just give us a yes, okay? Scientology lets you attain several different states of existence in just one lifetime.
No.
Could? You could believe that?
I could believe that.
Okay, good. Could you believe that it's a coincidence that a famous science fiction writer also invented a completely true religion involving aliens and spacecraft?
That's a tough one. I wouldn't
You don't have to believe it now. Do you think you're capable of believing it?
Oh, look, I could believe anything.
Yeah, okay.
Give me a couple of drinks.
That's what we're looking for. Excellent. Could you believe right now dead people's souls are flying around and clinging to you, and that's what's causing everything that goes wrong in your life?
Totally. Got everything but the age of believe.
Some of the... Okay, good.
Oh, no, that would be my ex-girlfriend.
If it's 75 million years ago, the Earth was... You don't believe that?
No.
Could you believe that?
No.
No, with intensive therapy, some courses, maybe a few donations?
Maybe, I suppose,
Possibly.
if I had enough invested in it.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, well, you will have enough invested in it, don't worry. Could you believe that 75 million years ago, Xenu froze hundreds of billions of people and dropped them into volcanoes on Earth before blowing them up with hydrogen bombs?
Jeez, that's a bit harsh, but yeah, I could believe that.
I don't see why aliens would be using hydrogen bombs.
Sure. Could you believe that Tom Cruise is a completely normal human being?
No.
Right, okay. Now you've scored very highly on everything else, but even that,
It's a bit much.
just can't believe that.
There's no doubt that he's completely sane.
You're being serious? If you believe that, you're actually too gullible for the gullibility test, so you've done well. To make this fully scientific, we do need to check your reading on the BS meter. We're testing whether you're shrewd, gullible, or James Packer. Now, the James Packer is not a reference to Scientology, that's just a reference to one tell, actually. How does it feel to you?
It's okay.
Does it feel scientific?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah? Scientific enough?
Yes.
Would you like to take a test?
No, that's fine.
No?
Thanks.
It's free?
No, I'm the official from the church, so...
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right. Well, if we get any people who pass, we'll send them in, eh?
There you go.
Okay.
You've been listening to the Skeptic Zone. Visit our website at www.skepticzone.tv for comments, contacts, and extra video reports.
Let me ask you something.
What's that?
Do you have a penis?
Can snarl up all other auditing until it's handled. One can fixedly go into things on any dynamic to very unhappy results. The int by dynamics rundown resolves all manifestations of out-int on all dynamics.
Golden age of tech word clearers, cramming officers, and ethics officers are set up to handle whatever you need. Every supervisor has completed the flag-only professional metering course and has an RTC pass on solar metering drills. They speak English,